The doctor is in. The doctor is in. And we are here today with our great friend, Kathy Ridley Merriweather. Dr. Mo was here for about 2 seconds, but
Yeah.
she's actually in Saudi Arabia where it's 2 in the morning. And she had a little food poisoning, so she's not going to be on with us tonight, but she came to say hi. So from Dr. Mo. But I'm here with Kathy. And gosh, I met Kathy like at ACR last
Yeah.
fall. Yes, right.
hmm
And
hmm
we started talking about what we're going to talk about today. One of our favorite topics is research and how we can advance science. And she plays an integral role in the research that needs to be happening for Black breast cancer. So let's jump on in.
Let.
So tell everybody who you are. And if Mo were here, she
Yeah.
would ask you your why. Why do you do this work? So go.
Uh, okay. All right. So I'm going to take notes all the time so that I don't forget to answer any questions. Hey, everybody. So I am Dr. Kathy Ridley Merriweather. I am the communication and outreach manager for a group of biobanks at the IU Simon Comprehensive Cancer Center here in
And what's
Indianapolis.
what's a biobank?
And a biobank is just what it sounds like. If you take biology and banking and put them together, that's what a biobank is. So it is a it's storage facility or storage of body parts and tissues and blood and anything. Eyes, there's eye banks and there's toenail bank. I mean, there's all kinds of biobanks. The one and this the group of them that I am the manager for focuses that group. Those four individual biobanks focus on different things, and really only two of them are actual biobanks, and it's one of those that I'm here today to really talk about because it really has my heart, and that is the Komen Tissue Bank. The full name, which I kind of have to say out loud, is the Susan G. Komen Tissue Bank at the IU Simon Comprehensive Cancer Center. Um, we are not Komen, we are fully Indiana University, but we are very grateful to Komen because they have
Right.
been helping to fund us for a long time.
That's great. That's great. So,
And
so
my why?
yeah, what's your why?
Um, I, my why is because I did not know I would be doing this work. I had no idea I would pursue a doctorate. I had no idea I was going to be in research. And my why is simply that clearly, when I started to work just basically as an office manager at this work, and kept just finding out things about Black women in particular and breast cancer and how, when you're the only Black person in the room and everybody asks you questions about Black people, that happened. And it just started developing a passion in me. And I realized how much I did not know. And so I went back to school a couple of times
Couple of
and
times.
then yeah, and just developed a passion that I did not know I had. And I had to answer to that passion.
I love it. I love it. I know we all sort of make this our God job in some way, right? We get called to do this
Absolutely.
work.
Yep. Yep.
Okay, so you get funding from Komen and probably
Some of
more
our funding. We're not fully,
a lot of
when
other
we
people, but
started, we were fully funded by Komen. We're not fully funded by them anymore,
right,
but they
right.
definitely are still a major part. Yes.
That's great. So let's talk about this biobank. I love the way you describe it, that it's like body parts and cells and tissues and things from people's
Yeah.
bodies. And not dead people's bodies. Let's talk about that, right? It's like everybody's bodies in a bank, right? So
Yeah.
it's like a
Uh-huh.
storage unit. So
hmm
physically describe that for people. I think because what does that look like? Is there like drawers in it? Like is it like a morgue? Is it like I'm like
Yeah.
what does it take to store tissue?
That is a great question. So it's kind of everything that you just named. All right. So the different specimens that you store require different storage, right?
Okay.
So for the Komen Tissue Bank, we collect healthy breast tissue from people with no signs of cancer.
So a healthy breast tissue, meaning not somebody like me that's been tainted with breast cancer, but women with healthy boobs.
Someone like you who is a fabulous survivor and warrior.
Thank you,
Um,
honey.
Yeah, we will not use the word tainted.
Thank you.
But yes, yeah, women and men actually. We
Okay,
also collect
okay,
from men, yes,
okay,
who have no sign of breast cancer. And people ask, how do you know it's healthy? Because you say it's healthy, that you have
right,
no sign of breast cancer.
okay.
And so we also take blood. So for that as an example, the tissue itself, first of all, it gets stored in different ways. Some of it is stored at room temperature. It's fixed with a, I'm going to use, let's see, it's fixed with this substance that makes it kind of preserved, if you will, kind of like a dinosaur, preserved in slides, and that is stored at room temperature on these slides, kind of in a drawer, like in a case, kind of stacked up. Then there's some of the tissue. The tissue is flash frozen, which means that right away, as soon as it's taken out of the body, we put it in liquid nitrogen to just kind of zap it. It's kind of the opposite. You know how you flash boil, you know how you might boil something, you might
Yeah,
get some water boiling
yeah,
and
yeah.
you might be skinning peaches or
Right.
tomatoes and you
Okay,
throw them in
right,
there for just a
right.
second. Okay, that kind of idea, except with cold.
Frozen. Okay.
Except with cold. So it's flash frozen right away. And then some of it is kept in a minus 80 degrees Celsius freezer. Some of it is stored, the liquid nitrogen that it's flash frozen in, some of it is permanently stored in that liquid nitrogen. The blood itself is spun down into serum and plasma and stored differently, also stored as whole blood. So there's all kinds of different ways because researchers, they do very diverse breast cancer projects to look for new treatments and
Right,
cures for
right,
breast cancer,
right.
and they want their samples in different ways. And we also generate a lot of data, and some researchers just want the data, and they want to just kind of work with that data to see
And
what they can.
the data is kind of the characteristics of the tissues and the blood.
Yes, the data comes from other researchers,
Okay,
which is one
okay,
of the cool things about the
okay.
Komen Tissue Bank is we don't care who cures cancer. We are certainly not going to stop. We are not like the first graders taking their spelling tests, who
Right,
are
right,
doing
right,
everything like this so you
right.
can't see. To be able to be allowed to request and receive tissue from the Komen Tissue Bank, as a researcher, you must agree to return your raw data to us, and we make that data public.
Available. Wow, wow. All right.
Yeah.
All right. So go back to I actually was in um, University of Nottingham in England last week. And
Oh,
I
great for
saw,
that.
and I was in the lab with my friend Nigel Mongan, who's working on soundbite with us. And I saw like a -0 refrigerator. And it's pretty like
Yeah.
it's a massive refrigerator, but they won't even open
They're
it because
different. Some of them are just freezers that,
okay,
look
oh
like
this is like a huge
really huge. Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
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 And
It's amazing.
actually the family that donated it to the lab was there with us. He was giving us a tour and they came to meet us, to our soundbite team. And this family had donated this refrigerator to the lab. That
That's
was
amazing.
I said, well,
That's,
I don't even know how much that costs. But
that's
anyway,
some great generosity
so,
right there.
so let's go back to like for people like me who are not scientists, like where do the tissues come from? And then what are you going to do? So, like when I go get my blood drawn for my whatever every 3 month blood test, like what happens? Like where does it go? Does it go in a tube? Like it gets tested? But can I donate it? Like I can't donate it to you because I can't had cancer, but like what happens to it? Like and where does it come from? Or where do you get the healthy tissue from? The healthy blood?
Okay. We get the healthy tissue in the same way you get any type of tissue out of the breast, a biopsy procedure. We don't actually call it a biopsy, not to be tricky or secretive or anything, but when you hear biopsy, you think diagnosis. You think when you're getting
You
a
cancer. You
biopsy,
think
you expect
cancer.
to
Yeah.
learn something
Right, right,
about yourself.
right, right.
And this is a completely altruistic endeavor. People who for no reason at all except that they understand how important research is, opt in to come and donate their healthy breast tissue to us. So they come, we have these things, we call them tissue collection events. There's one coming up here in Indianapolis, April 26th. It's open to the public. They have to make a reservation, but we'll have 100 to 120 people come through that day, and they will be donating their healthy tissue. It takes about 7 steps. I'll tell you about that later if you want to hear. It takes about 60 to 90 minutes, and that tissue is taken out of their body, processed in the manner I just finished telling you about. Um, and then we also take the blood and take some blood from them, process it in the manner that I'm telling you about. And that's, and, but the biobanking idea is so super cool because so you might have been a part of a research project or a clinical trial and you knew exactly what was going on. You knew what it was for. You knew what they were looking for
Right,
and things
right,
like
right.
that. When you donate, when you agree, consent, and when you sign informed consent to have your tissue and your blood or whatever it might be placed into a biobank, instead of it being able to feed and service and supply one study, it can one core of tissue from somebody at the Komen Tissue Bank could serve 50 or 55 different researchers if they only
Wow,
wanted like one piece
wow,
of it.
wow.
So your tissue could be working to be involved in all kinds of
Kinds of
amazing
projects.
research.
Wow.
Right. And we kind of might have a hesitation about biobanks because we don't know exactly
What they're
what
going to
it's
do.
going to be doing. And I love to destigmatize the biobanking idea and to get people to think about, wow, wouldn't you love it if you could go out and do 50 things at once with just one with just one fell swoop? And so that's what a biobank is. It's stored in all those ways that you said, in drawers, in in refrigerators, in freezers, in tubes, in different places, and but very meticulously categorized and coded and kept de-identified, right?
So you don't
So
know whose it is.
you don't know whose it is.
But you
Henrietta
know that
Lack,
I'm black. Do
that
you know it's black people? Do you know it's
yeah, so it's that's a great question. So it's de-identified, but all that rich data that comes from your from who you are and what you do goes along with your tissue. So when someone requests and receives tissue from the Komen Tissue Bank, they receive our donors sit down and complete a medical questionnaire, a medical history questionnaire.
okay?
Nothing on there that could help them to identify you. So no
Okay.
name, no address,
Okay.
no none of
Okay.
that stuff.
Okay.
But yes, your racial and ethnic history
Okay.
and
Your
identity,
age, your
your
demographics matter.
age,
Right.
your all kinds of things
Okay.
that we get that could be very valuable to
Right.
different researchers. Yeah. And so yeah, so back to your original question. So yeah, these people are healthy. And I got to tell you, white women come in droves because they feel
Feeling
safe.
because they feel
In a second. I have literally been talking about this on an elevator, and the white woman in the elevator with me is like, "Oh, where's that? When's that? I'm going to come." And on their phone, Sandy, we're going to go get our tissue taken out of our breasts so that we can help research. But they feel safe, right?
right. Right.
They understand. They know that nothing's going to
That
happen to them.
happened. Right.
Um, um, Black and brown people don't have that sense of safety because
Safety. Right.
we've been abused for
Right. 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 And we walk in that lab wondering what's going to happen.
right. So
But
my whole focus in life, my whole goal is to help people understand, help Black and brown people, Black women in particular. That's kind of my little heartthrob, understand that I validate your hesitation. It makes sense. It makes sense that you don't want to jump up and go volunteer to take part in research. And not but, and I need you to do it anyway. Because if we don't participate in research, we will never be able to benefit.
we will
And the
never,
cures will never be for us.
Right,
We
right.
have got to do it.
We've got to do it.
So
We've got to do it.
got to do it.
And I'm going to put the link to this video in the comments, but one of my Sambai, our research that we're working on, friends, her name is Shiba Ershad. She's a oncologist researcher at King's College in London.
Okay.
And she showed me at the meeting where I met you a picture of a white triple negative breast cancer cell versus a black one under a microscope. And they look nothing alike.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely nothing alike. So when you think about the drugs that we're making and the studies that we're doing, of course we're dying because the drugs don't work on our cells. And so that's why it's so critical to really finally people are like hearing that black breast
Not
is a
only are the
thing.
drugs not working the same, the side effects are so much
The
worse.
side effects are so much worse or so
So
different.
much
It
worse.
could be totally
They're
different.
different.
And it
Correct.
could even be the dosing of the drug, right? The other
Correct.
thing that Sheba is researching is our immune system. So our
Mm-hmm.
immune systems that are actually reacting to the cancer cells are different than white people.
Mm-hmm.
And so her research is looking at not only the cells and how different the biology of the cells are, but then how that cancer is received into our bodies
Will
different.
you spell her last name for me, please?
Yeah,
That's fascinating.
Irshad. If I can pull it up, I'll try to show maybe a snippet of her
Okay,
video while we're talking. I'll
great.
see if I can get my act together technically. But it's we have so much work to do.
We
So
do.
and we need not just sick people's boobs like mine, but we need healthy tissue
Healthy.
Black women. And
Because normal is so important. That's what we live for. The
yes,
Komen Tissue
yes,
Bank is all about
normal.
normal
Right,
tissue. If
right,
we
right, right,
don't know if you didn't know what a watermelon looked like and somebody showed you this and said this is a watermelon, you'd
right,
think that's what a watermelon looks like, right?
right, right,
So
right,
we
right,
need to know
right.
what normal tissue is. So that's why this normal tissue is so important to researchers. There is no other the Komen Tissue Bank is the only biobank in the world that does this. And so it's the only place that you can get truly normal breast tissue to be used as normal controls in that research.
So say that again. Say that again.
Okay. All
Your
right.
tissue bank, the Komen Tissue Bank, is the only place that say
Only biobank in the world that collects healthy, normal breast tissue from healthy donors that is then given to the researchers who request it, who are working on their own breast cancer projects around the world. The Komen Tissue Bank tissue has been sent to
like
Australia, to
sad,
England.
black. Sorry about that. I just
Oh, that's okay. To all kinds of places. And so we even have on our website, which komentissuebank.iu.edu.
Komen
If you
Tissue
go to
Bank. I'm gonna put that in the comments.
komentissuebank.iu.edu, and that our website is within the website of the Cancer Center. So use the left-handed navigation system. I mean, not the one across the top. The one across the top will take you out into the Cancer Center. So when you go to that website, use the navigation on the left. Yeah, so when I lost my train of thought about why I was giving you
I'm
the website.
sorry. I'm
No, that's
sorry.
okay. We'll get back
Um,
to it eventually.
um, so we're talking about it's the only thing. So basically,
Right,
you're
right.
kind of it. So if
Yeah.
people don't give it to you, you can't give it to anybody else, right?
So prior to the Komen Tissue Bank, the sources that were called normal, that was what was available, was an array of different. So it might have been from a prophylactic mastectomy, might have been a contralateral breast, right? You have breast cancer in the right breast, so they get tissue from the left breast. Sometimes they would get tissue from 2 inches away from the tumor.
Okay.
None of that is normal. And there's actually a couple of research papers. That's why I sent you to the website. On our website are over 100 published publications from researchers who have used Komen Tissue Bank tissue, who have used our samples. I should not just say tissue, our tissue, our blood, or data, who have used our samples. And a couple of them show how much more normal Komen tissue bank tissue is to previously used ideas of normal tissue.
Wow. Well, so if you have a biopsy and it
Hmm.
turns out you don't have cancer,
Hmm.
so they find something or whatever and they say, oh, this isn't cancer. Does that tissue work?
Do you mean
Like
if
if
you were
they,
like somewhere having a biopsy because they saw something
yeah,
wonky and they went in and
right.
now they have this tissue and you want to give it to us? Is that
Yeah,
what you mean?
yeah.
Yeah, no.
Because that's
Um,
not normal.
something's going on, right?
So even if
Something's
you don't
going
have
on.
cancer, you have a cyst or something that's not normal.
Right, right.
Right.
So that does not mean that if you have any of the other things that can be going on with your breast that you cannot donate to the Komen Tissue Bank. It does not mean that. And we would have that in your medical history. But I was kind of alluding more to we can't use that cyst piece of that cyst or whatever that is for a couple reasons because we would like I said, that wouldn't stop you. We would probably take it from the other breast, but to the Komen Tissue Bank has a very, very strict protocol, and you
Okay.
have to donate to us at our event. So you can't,
You have to. Oh, so you basically control the
unfortunately, with
size.
this great national audience,
Yeah.
Ricky, I wish that I could tell you. So I am going to tell your audience, please, when you have an opportunity, please come and donate your healthy breast tissue or tell your sisters or your mothers or your children, your 18-year-old and older children, to donate to the Komen Tissue Bank. But we have to process the tissue within 5 minutes of it leaving the body per our
Oh, wow.
protocol.
So you have to do it on site there.
It has to be on site.
Okay. All
Right,
right.
it has to be on site. Now, we are in Indianapolis, Indiana, and we're the only ones, right? So, yes, you could come to Indianapolis, which April 26th, if you want to do that. So, in
Okay.
order to kind of alleviate that, we do go out of town to usually to cities more diverse than Indianapolis is. Indianapolis is not the most diverse city in the world, and so we have held tissue collection events in Southern California, in Houston, Texas, in Phoenix, in New York, in several other places where we have gone to host tissue collection events. We need medical partners to do that. Cancer institutions who are willing to partner with us and do this event in our
Great.
way. But yeah, but we do have to take it.
So if you go to an event, like, we do events all over the country. We did 110 last year. We went to 110 events. Could you come with us? So I mean, you would cut if you showed up at one of our events, so how would you get the tissue back in 5 minutes?
It would have to be processed in five
Right,
minutes.
okay,
So
so
for us
you
to
have to
come to
do it.
you, first of all, I'm never going to say no. My bosses can say no later, and I know, and I'll come and say, "Oh, Ricky, they said that's not going to work."
Come to Martha's
But
Vineyard with us.
I'm never going to say no. So here's a couple of ideas. Maybe you could have your event in conjunction with a local large, maybe cancer clinic that would
Okay.
have. We can't do anything outdoors. We're going to need to be
You need a
inside, but
refrigerator, you need that 80
we
minus
need,
80 degrees.
well, we have a pop-up lab. We'll pop up a lab anywhere.
Okay,
So we'll bring the liquid nitrogen with us. We bring everything we need with us.
okay.
But we would need sterile situations. And so we'd need at least a community clinic with 18, 15 or more rooms, exam rooms. And we would need a base of surgeons, breast cancer surgeons and radiologists to do the biopsies,
Got it.
right?
Yeah.
So we always need a medical partner to partner with us, but you and we and a medical partner could all partner together to do something like that. We had a convention here in Indianapolis. The Delta Sigma Theta National Convention was here last year before.
Yeah.
And I was doing my best to communicate and reach out because they would have been only like 3 blocks from our cancer center. And we would have loved to have a tissue collection
A
event
group
in
collection, yeah,
conjunction,
yeah.
right,
Wow.
with them. And I need to do this so that everybody knows that, yes, it's
You
friendly for
got it. I
everybody.
hear you. I know. I'm the daughter of a Delta, so
I would love to, yeah.
um, um, Yeah, we're about to do an event with the Links Eastern area.
Oh yeah. And
But
that would be, yeah.
let's try to figure that out. Okay, let's
Let's
try
try
to
to figure
figure
that out.
because
Yeah.
we're
Yeah.
doing all these events, and normally we don't go to health fairs because we like to say we go where Black women live, work, play, pray, and slay,
Yeah.
where we're
Yeah.
not preaching to the choir, but I think this is a totally different conversation because we are probably preaching to the choir that people will be likely to want to give their tissue. But do you want
Yes.
to see the video? I'm going to try to play it.
Yeah.
So this is my friend Sheila. Let's see if I can make it just work.
Did you
Um,
click that little tick
yep,
mark that says
there's
sound?
share
Okay.
sound. Yep, yep.
Okay.
Um,
That's the part I always
I
forget.
me too. All right, so this is Shiva. Can you see that?
I can.
Everybody see that? All right. I won't play the whole thing, but I'll play it.
Cancer is different to white breast cancer, but also where the cancer sits. So our immune system, the host, is also different. And we need to understand both aspects to really sort of improve outcomes for patients, for Black patients.
So I know this is great. So why is it taking so long for people to recognize that our Black cancer is different?
I think it's because we haven't really focused on it. It's all been about trying to find new drugs, but that has meant we've ignored Black breast cancer patients, and we're now kind of really understanding that they're not the same, so we need to understand the disease separately.
So this is my friend Sheba. And where do you live?
In London. I'm a breast cancer oncologist and a tumor immunologist, so I'm interested in trying to understand how our immune cells, our own immune cells that usually fight infections, talk to cancer cells. And I think increasingly we're recognizing that that is different in Black patients compared to white patients, and we need to understand that better.
Wow.
Because we also know that immunotherapies are actually what can cure, in many sort of white patients have been cured with immunotherapy. So we need to understand what the immune system's doing in Black breast cancer patients so we can find better treatments for them.
So do you think so you got the gist of it, but what you're
She needs
doing.
to contact us and work with us and use some of our tissue.
Well, yeah, and so actually, I talked to Dr. Melissa a little bit, and so I think we're going to reach out to our Soundbite team because we're doing this set. We're trying to collect 40,000 samples, and we're actually studying breast, prostate, and pancreatic cancer in the
Mm-hmm.
US, Canada, the UK, Ghana, Nigeria, South Africa, Ethiopia, and Kenya. And so we're going all over the world to collect these samples. So
And
definitely be in touch to do this work. But I mean, we need to catch that. And the purpose is to say what's different about a Black cancer cell versus a white cancer cell. And we're looking at the social determinants of health, the genetics, the genomics, the biology of the cancer cell. We've been talking about that in our last two shows, genomic testing, and then exposomics, which is the environment. Do you live in Flint, Michigan? Do you live in Cancer Alley in the South? Do you live in a village in Ghana where you had a volcano last year? Like, so all those things play a role in this cancer
it's
study.
such an important study.
Yeah.
And we at the KTB, that's what the Komen Tissue Bank, we call it the KTB. We love Dr. Davis, Melissa Davis.
She's the
She came
best.
and spoke with us and had lunch with us, and we just love her. She's been there a couple of times, and so I am so happy for her and for you and for that whole team that
Yeah.
is doing that work. It's amazing.
Yeah, so what we're gonna regroup, and I really wanted to get her on the show tonight, and she's just crazy. That's why I've been traveling with. I've been traveling with her. We were in the UK last week, but we'll do that. We'll do another show because I think that, but we just want people to understand. And now that I've been working with her, I see all these brains working on cancer research, and it just exacerbates the immensity of the challenge of this science and how every piece of it, like your piece of it, my little piece of being an advocate, is like just a drop in the bucket for where we need to get the data that we need to do this work. And there's
Yep.
so much work to do. So
Which is why this collaboration is always so important. We've
yes,
got to keep working together.
yes.
Um, despite what forces are trying to stop us from doing so.
And we're not even going to go there because you know
No,
what?
but we've
God
got
is
to keep
in
on working
control.
together, finding each other, like you say.
Yeah.
And so I really would love to revisit that whole idea of a KTB tissue collection event in conjunction with one of your events.
Let's do
Uh,
it. And even if we did it in Indianapolis, you know what I
See,
mean?
now I was going to say, is there any way you can come here?
Yeah, we could come there and do something there with you and maybe do
Oh,
something and make an event there. And you know, we have a blessed friend there. You know, we like to go where our friends are a lot of
yeah.
times. And I will work on that. I will work
Okay.
on that. But let's
Okay.
plan
Now you've really made it possible.
No, we're gonna figure it out. We're gonna figure that out because we really want to you know, get more women involved and
Yeah.
help them and you know, we spend a lot of time trying to talk to women, especially young women, about breast health. And that's what our Pink Table Talk show is about, that my daughter Haley does, you know, that it's not about cancer, it's about breast health. It's about knowing your body. It's about knowing her story. It's about knowing how to advocate for yourself if you're dismissed by a doctor. It's about making breast health an act of self-care. You know, like when you get your nails done, check your breasts. When you get your hair done, check your breasts. When you go out with your girls to brunch, check your breasts, and then making it part of your vernacular. But guess what? So could a donation of your tissue be an act
Yeah,
of self-care,
absolutely.
right?
And it's something you can do, right? It's something that you can do. Um,
Okay,
and
how bad does it hurt?
if someone is a breast cancer survivor, we also the entire a tissue collection event. I told you about 100 or 120 people would
Yeah,
come through in
yeah,
Indianapolis. It takes at least that many volunteers to run that event. It's the volunteer ratio is pretty much 1 for 1.
wow,
Everybody, the Komen Tissue Bank only has 8, 9 employees. So all those people are volunteers. The surgeons, the
wow,
phlebotomists, the
wow,
lab people, the
wow,
consenters, the
wow.
med, all of those people are volunteers. And so it's just so that is where the breast cancer survivors can really help because those volunteer roles are super important.
Yes, and that's what we
So
could all say.
as
Hey,
important
come on, yeah, yeah,
as important as the person donating the tissue.
yeah.
If you've gathered your courage together to come and do something like that, and you walk in and there's nothing but white faces there looking at you, I mean,
Hello.
that's off-putting. So
Right,
to
right,
diversify our
yeah.
volunteer pool is as much a focus for me as it is to diversify the donor pool.
Wow. So we have Lisa Hayes in our comments. Hey, Lisa. Basically, she's saying her organization, Pink Forever, would love to collaborate. So, Lisa, I'm going to
Hi,
put my
Lisa.
email address.
Lisa's awesome.
Yeah. Oh, you know Lisa. So, Lisa.
Oh, Ricky, you need to know Lisa.
Okay, I'm going to
I'll
Lisa,
make that happen.
email me right now,
Okay.
and we'll try to work on something. I'm giving you my email address
Yes.
and
She and you and she are in the same business.
okay, great, 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 great. I'm sorry I don't know her. I'm sorry I don't know you yet, babe. But yes, reach out to me
Yes, they're
about it.
fabulous partners. Thanks, Lisa. We accept.
Thanks, Lisa. And we'll find some more partners. This is great. But so give me a reality check on how bad does it hurt?
I love that question. And it always I'm going to preface this by saying it used to surprise me coming from Black women because it's like I feel like we live in pain every day and
Every day.
and
Every
have no fear.
day.
It's like, you know,
We inflict it
everything
on ourselves. Like, well, it's a
everything hurts all the time and then we
right.
ignore it to take care of everybody else. But it is a great question and it is a valid question and it is a question that I will not answer definitively.
Okay.
I will answer it. I will answer it, but it is not it is not there's not an answer, a whole answer to that, a full answer. Well, there's a full answer. There's just not the answer people are looking for. So and here's how I answer it. I say I'm not going to answer that fully because we never we always tell the truth, the whole truth and nothing but the truth. So
Now
I
tell
can't
us.
answer that truthfully for you or for the next person because pain is subjective. Okay. So what we do when people ask that is we tell our story. And I've learned that my story is pretty normal. It's
Okay.
the majority of people I run into are like, yep, 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 that was me too. So when I donated, so first of all, you should never feel the actual donation process itself. You're fully numbed, right? So I will take a minute now, if it's okay, to just kind of tell the process of donating
Okay,
your tissue.
go for it. That would be
Okay.
great for
So of that 60 to 90 minutes that you are with us, about 20 minutes of that is the actual donation process.
Okay.
Okay. And so you go into an exam room and the area is cleaned. On the side of the area is cleaned. And then you are numbed with a shot of lidocaine.
Great.
And after that lidocaine goes in, you should feel nothing else while you're there, right? The surgeon or radiologist will make a very small incision / nick with a scalpel. And then we use a vacuum assist device from one of our fabulous partners, Hologic, who is
Oh,
just
Logic.
fabulous.
They make
Women,
our 3D mammogram machines, right?
they are fabulous. They
Great.
support us. They are a supporter of us
Great.
hugely,
Great.
financially and everything else. So they have a vacuum assist device called an ATEC machine.
Okay.
And so this means that when we take the cores of tissue out of your breast, we just go in once. And we take out, we say when you sign your informed consent, it'll say up to 7 cores of tissue. And so it could be 5 or 6. We usually that's how many we take. So we take it just goes in, and the machine makes a little noise. I always warn people the machine makes, people don't like sound sometimes, but it kind of goes shoop, 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 and it sucks that tissue out. That tissue, by the way, goes into this little receptacle right there in the needle and is then popped out of that receptacle and handed out the door immediately to a runner who runs it to the pop-up lab, right?
Wow.
Meanwhile, the donor is there's a surgeon assistant in the room with the donor who stays with the donor at all times, and very firm pressure is held for 10 full minutes, or until the bleeding stops, whichever that is. Usually 10 minutes is plenty of time for the bleeding to stop. And then we put a little small steri-strip
Yeah.
across the incision. It's not even big enough for a stitch. We just put a little steri-strip across it. And then we put a gauze, like a pressure bandage, over that and tape that down. You are given an ice pack immediately to put in your bra if you are a man, or if you are a flatter chested
Yeah.
woman. We
Yeah.
will wrap you with the ace bandage to keep that ice pack in place. And then you go to you are dismissed to go to checkout, and you get your instructions and a bag, and you get a parking pass, and you get a t-shirt. I can tell you that you get a parking pass. That's pretty much, everybody's like,
Okay.
oh, don't you have an incentive? Don't you pay them? No,
No.
our IRB doesn't allow us to pay you because we're
Right.
taking a part of your body, but you're going to love that t-shirt and that parking pass. So now,
And
so
maybe a
that
glass
is
of
all.
water. Maybe a glass of water.
Exactly. So that I can tell you, the donation itself should not hurt. If you feel anything other than some pressure or that coming out. Now, lidocaine though wears off, right? And that is where any pain might come in. For me, I would never call it pain. I would never call it pain. Of course, I've had a baby and a ruptured appendix, which was way worse than having the baby. But so it was kind of tender. Like, I will say it was kind of, I would maybe call it, I had some discomfort for a little while.
Okay.
I found I was protecting myself, right?
Okay.
Somebody would come in for a hug.
Yeah.
I would offer the other side.
Yeah.
Somebody would, do that. And so
Yeah.
after a couple of days, I didn't even really notice it anymore. And as long as I was sitting still, I didn't notice it. Other people have different stories, but like I said, I found that my story is pretty normal.
Right. Wow.
Hurts a heck of a lot less than breast cancer. I can tell you.
Okay. I can tell you that. Right.
Right.
And I could, I've had a couple of biopsies and they really weren't so bad. I don't know.
And I know this is probably an audience that has had there's a lot of biopsy receivers out there. Let me say this. A biopsy for this procedure is not like a diagnostic biopsy. We just go in, take the tissue, and come out. We don't have to find, so there's none of the weaving and the bobbing of the needle,
and that noise, that clank, clank. There's a horrible noise.
No, it's just, we just go in and take it and come out. So it's much simpler.
Yeah.
And I need to also make sure that everybody understands this. You know nothing more when you leave us than when you came. You are not going to get a report. It is not a diagnostic procedure. We do not diagnose that tissue or look at it. It is processed and stored
It goes into
for
the
a
bank.
researcher to take.
Do you test it for anything before you put it into the bank?
We do not. What we do, and I'm going to hear about this at work if this is not a correct, because I am also not the scientist in the room.
Yeah, that's okay.
That
We'll
doctor in
learn
front of my name is definitely a social science
that.
degree, right? I am a
Well, I'm a
health
marketing person
communication
that's now a
scholar,
PI, which is crazy right now. So,
right? But we do have a pathologist look at we
okay.
at a little piece of each of the cores from, sorry, not each of the cores, but from each of the donors. They look at a little piece of it. I liken it, and this is where I'm going to find out if I'm right or not. And if I'm not, I'll get back to you so you can announce it. I announce it. I liken it to paging through a book to see if it's like a comic book or something to just
Uh-huh.
kind of enjoy, kind
Uh-huh.
of. So they're glancing, they are looking through, because if there's something glaringly wrong, I'm
Then
doing this.
they'll
You can't
flag
see
it.
me. I'm
Okay.
doing this. And I used to be a bank teller, and we used to kind of riffle through a stack of
Right,
hundreds to make sure
right,
they were
right,
all $100
right.
bills. So a pathologist does look to see if there's anything glaringly wrong. But if
Got it.
you've got, insight to, if you've got little baby cancer, and what is the chance that we pick the breast and the exact place where you might have cancer starting,
Right,
right? So
right,
so that's
right,
the only
right,
that's
right,
what we do, just to make sure that there's
right.
nothing glaringly wrong,
Nothing
and
in,
then we
right.
store it.
Got it, got it. Got it, got it. So Lisa has said that we have met. I think I remember you in San Antonio. And she also said her husband was the first man to donate breast tissue to the tissue bank.
See, Lisa said that, so now I can say, yes, that's true. Yes, we take tissue. It is so important. Tissue, breast cancer in men is increasing,
It is.
just like it is in young
Young
people.
women. Yeah,
It
yeah.
is, it is increasing. And so about 2.5 years ago, we did what we needed to do, which included a generous donation from the mother of a male breast cancer patient who passed away. His mother donated his life insurance to us,
Wow.
so that we could start taking tissue from men, because we
And
need a different
wow.
size needle.
Okay.
It has to be a
That's
radiologist and not just a breast surgeon, because not all breast surgeons have taken, biopsies
right,
from men
right.
necessarily, or cut on men. So we need other things in place. And we also always use ultrasound for men. We do not use ultrasound to do this biopsy for women, because we're not looking for anything. We're just
Got it.
going in and taking it and
Taking
coming
tissue.
out.
And you know the
But
tissue's there because the boobs are
right,
there.
we know the tissue's
Yeah.
there.
Right, right.
Yeah. So the part, and so any men and any people in Indianapolis or within a drivable range whose men want to come and donate April 26th, they can go online and sign up for it right now.
Wow.
It's
Well,
amazing.
they go online on the website that we said. So,
Yeah.
so if you want to give us some social media to post, we're happy to post about it. Um, and then we're going to work on doing something else. So the women that you're getting now, most of the people are coming from just local area. They drive from out of town or
We have primarily, we have had people, these two Asian women came from San Francisco to donate one time. They just wanted to
wow,
do it, so they came. So there is the outlet, but pretty much, yes,
it's
people
local.
are from um, like within 100 miles usually.
Can
They
you
will
do it
say,
more than once? Can you do it more than once?
you can do it more than once. We had so many requests to do it more than once, and we had so many donors doing it more than once, that we went back to the researchers, which we do often, to ask what makes tissue from the same donor valuable.
Right.
And they said every 5 years makes it
Oh, every
valuable,
every 5 years because your body could change. Okay.
because
Every 5 years.
that's
Yeah.
a period of time in which
Gotcha.
your body would change
Okay.
enough to really make it valuable for that researcher to maybe want to see both of those samples, for
And
example.
so how long do you keep a sample?
Uh-huh.
How long do you keep it? I know. For years?
Yes. You know what? I'm being funny. Forever. I mean, as long as it's viable, the sample is
Wow.
there. Hopefully, we don't want to keep them. We want researchers to please
They
request
can
them
take
and
them
use
out.
them,
Yeah, so
right?
that's why I'm saying, is it
But
benefit for somebody to do it twice because you could run out of their tissue?
so yes, we absolutely could. So okay, I needed a note for that. So we are a longitudinal study, Ricky. We are a longitudinal study. So when you agree to donate your healthy breast tissue to the Komen Tissue Bank, you are also agreeing to allow us to contact you once a year. We
Okay.
contact you in the month of your birth, and we give you a very short survey. It comes by email, or if you rather we call you, we will do that as well. To just do a medical follow-up, just some basic questions that are important for our researchers to know. Because let's say they requested your tissue and you donated, they got your tissue and you donated 4 years ago, and they get the data that you filled out 4 years ago, but that's not worth as much as if they also know what has happened since then. So
Okay.
they get that aggregate data. They get all of that
Got it.
data
Got
sent
it.
with your sample.
But
Um,
what if you got cancer, developed cancer after the biopsy?
so that medical follow-up will let us know that.
Well, you know,
We ask you, we have these people that donate their tissue, of course, they're very conscious of the fact that they donated it, and they will usually call and tell us. And we do have a very precious cohort of tissue that we are not at this point in time allowing out to researchers, but we do have a precious cohort from women who did call us immediately before they'd had any treatment and came back in
to get
for us to
tissue.
take a piece of that tumor. That is the
Wow.
only tumor tissue we will have in our
Wow.
bank.
Isn't that
Is if
amazing?
we have, so imagine that is, and there are IU researchers working with that cohort. Um, yes, but women will let us, people, that was hard to get in my head
Right,
after so
right,
many years
right,
of just
right, right.
women. People will let us know whether they have
Whether I
developed
have
breast
developed cancer or not. Okay.
cancer. And we ask them
Interesting,
too.
interesting. So gosh, I really feel like compelled to get young women to do this
Please do.
because
It's
there's
the
so much
main thing we
young breast
cannot supply.
cancer. Right.
It's what we need the most. It is definitely beyond anything else
So
what we
under 40.
under 40. Under 40. Now, Black women out there, y'all come. If you're come on, don't let that under 40 thing stop you. I can say it in this audience. Basically, the group that we don't need is the white women over 50. Everybody,
Everybody's
any
doing it.
people of
Okay.
color, period. But
Okay.
yes, but that those young people, because we're getting requests from researchers, and we can't fill it. We had a request for some Black tissue from Black women under 40, and we're still trying to fulfill that request. We still don't
Wow.
have it.
Wow. Wow.
So that
And your
researcher is having to
researchers are,
wait, and
yeah.
every event we hopefully get a little bit more to send to them.
So your researchers are all over the world. Are they just
They are.
Americans? Okay, they're from all over the world, and
They're
they're
from all over the world.
right.
They're from all over the world.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. It's it's pretty awesome to have that, and it's just really great. When I first started working at the Komen Tissue Bank, which was in 2011, it was years. It was, for 3 years, I kept hearing about, these people have to return their data, and we need to know when they publish. And there was there was nothing coming back. But of course, research takes time. And so when it started coming in, it kept
It
coming in.
was a
It just
floodgate.
flooding. Right,
So,
right.
so when somebody takes a tissue out, they have to give it back?
Sorry. No,
No,
no, no, no, no.
they're using. Okay, got it. Okay.
No. Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Yes, they use the tissue. They
And they
do.
do the research that they want to do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we do, people, this is a kind of a
Yeah.
a full disclosure kind of a thing. We do charge researchers for the tissue, but not even close to what it costs us to take it.
To take care
It's
of it.
just call it
Okay.
a cost recovery sum. And that whole thing about you kind of have to pay something to really value something. So we don't
Right.
want
Right.
to
Right. You gotta put some skin in the game, right?
put some skin in the game, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
we do charge for it, but it does not even come close to covering the cost.
The cost. Wow.
Mhm.
Oh, wow. So how long has the bank been around?
2007.
2007.
Actually, there are some donations from 2006. In 2007 is when Susan G. Komen Foundation gave us enough money to be able
To
to
name
establish,
to name
uh,
it.
yeah, and to hire people and stuff
Okay.
like that. And
Okay.
and that's when we don't know why they wanted their name in our name. We are the only Komen grantee that I know of that has actually Komen in our name.
Name.
But we were very excited to be able to just kind of move
About-
forward and to have
Yeah.
some
Have
some
support. Have
have
support.
some support. Exactly.
I
So
know.
that
What
was
did people do
2007.
before you? Gosh, if you're
Yeah,
it.
all those other things that I taught, all those other ways, they would call those other types of
Yeah,
tissue
yeah,
normal tissue.
yeah. Wow,
Um,
wow, 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 wow. This is like eye-opening to me. And
I am so happy to be
you know
here.
when I first heard about you? You know when I first
When
heard about you? Oh my gosh. On the Tom Joyner radio show.
that was because of this huge event, and that is a great segue. Thank you very much, Ricky, for feeding me that. That was in 2012 that you heard that, or maybe 2011.
It was around when I was sick. It was around when I was sick, and I'm not sure, I worked at Coke, before, and I worked with Tom Joyner and Steve Harvey and all those guys, but I don't remember. And I think there's an event or something,
Exactly.
I think it was before I was sick. It was probably in like 2011.
Yeah. So in February of 2012, Indianapolis hosted its first and so far only Super Bowl, although we did a fabulous job. We were the first cold city to ever be offered the Super Bowl, and we laid it out and got so many kudos from all of those
Wow.
doubters.
Wow.
But we got some national attention then, and one of the goals of that, one of the things about the Super Bowl, that Super Bowl, was we had first of all, the Indianapolis had the first female lead director, president of a Super Bowl committee. First
Oh
time a
wow.
woman, yeah, first time a woman was
Wow.
the chair of the committee, and she did it like only women can. Things like knitters from all over the state knit scarves for the volunteers, and so we had 6,000 hand knit scarves
Wow, because I'm
for
sure
the
it was freezing.
volunteers
It was
to
freezing
wear.
for the Super
Embrace the
Bowl.
cold is was the
Right,
thing.
right.
But they had we were a legacy project for that Super Bowl, and so we had a gigantic event. And we took tissue from 550 some odd women over a weekend.
Wow.
Not the
Wow.
same, yeah, yeah.
Over Super Bowl
We took,
weekend.
and I hope I don't get in trouble for this, but I think it's a go. We're gonna do a similar thing this July. Indianapolis has the WNBA All-Star Game. We had
Wow.
the NBA All-Star Game last summer, and we did not know we were going to have the WNBA All-Star Game, but something happened with this, that the host city who was going to have it couldn't have it, and they reached out to Indianapolis because they know how well we do sports events and events in general, and we can do them quick. And so we have a host committee who was putting it together and reached out and said, "Hey, remember that event for the Super Bowl was called Super Cure? That was the name of our tissue collection event. Remember that Super Cure? How do you guys feel about doing that again?" And so we are doing it again. Unfortunately, I do not have a date, but it will be this summer. The All-Star game is the 19th and 20th. It won't be that weekend, but it will be in conjunction with that event. And so, yeah,
So
we're excited about that.
the good news is the WNBA is one of our sponsors for our Love of My Girls campaign.
So can you get me a star? I need a star to come.
I'll
I
reach
need,
out to them. We'll reach out to
okay.
them. So yeah, they
Now here's the
sponsor
thing,
our,
they're going to be playing basketball, so we don't need them. They might be hesitant to donate tissue. We
yeah,
don't need them to
but they
agree to
have
donate tissue.
families and friends.
Right, but we need somebody to really kind of be in
All
it to
right,
win it
we'll
for
talk.
us
We'll
and
talk.
help us
So yeah,
publicize.
they from almost the very beginning supported our Love of My Girls campaign. Do you know our Love of My Girls
Yes,
campaign? Our
yes,
Young Women
yes.
campaign, and they've been a supporter from the beginning. They are wonderful to work with, and so we can reach out. I'll have
This
Haley
is a great cause for them to
and
support. I
we
know
can do maybe a pink table talk of a show, our pink table talk show. We will figure this
from
out.
here,
If you hear this,
you
yeah.
will be my first call when I get that date.
All right. All right. So here's, and actually some Cheryl Walker just asked a question that I was going to ask you.
Okay.
I'm going to tell you what she said in the comments first, then I'll ask my question. She said, you need to have an event in a more diverse city like DC or Baltimore. And so my question was, yeah, what's the diversity like in Indianapolis when you do these events? And also, not only based on what kind of Dr. Sheba said, not only about the race or the people, but also maybe the homogeneity of the bodies in that area, right? Like do
Right.
I have a different body because I grew up in DC? Do I have a different body because I grew up in Cancer Alley? Do I have a
Probably. Yes.
body because I grew up in California? So are you getting, could you use a better variety or diversity of tissue? Thank you for that,
Always.
Carol.
Yes. 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 All of that. So yes, that diversity is very important. And it's one of the reasons why we started traveling. It's like,
Yeah.
how many people in how many
Indianapolis are going to cut their boots.
In
Right.
Indiana or
Right.
Indianapolis. I mean,
Right.
we've been to a couple cities in Indiana that were on the borders, but yes, it's why we started traveling. It's why when we travel, one of the main criteria is that that city, has to be more diverse than Indianapolis is. Now, as far as how diverse our events are, I'll toot my own horn a little bit to just say that I've been doing the best that I possibly can.
You go, girl.
And our sample, the tissue bank, 18% of the tissue in the tissue bank is from Black women.
You go, girl. And I know that's
8%,
because of you. I know.
8% is Latino and 3% is Asian. So I will say that any given tissue collection event is almost without exception more diverse than the city of Indianapolis is.
Well, that's great.
Um,
That's great.
and I have a minority recruitment team here and who's
Awesome.
helping me. And we're doing everything we can. But we're this small not-for-profit and we
Well,
can't
we
afford.
can
I
help
don't
you
have
do that though, when you're doing your event. At
Yes.
least we can do it on our social media. But I think the benefit maybe of our WNBA thing is people come from all over to go to those games.
They do.
So that
They
could be a
do.
really great
They'll be
audience
coming from everywhere.
from
So
everywhere.
that
So
I
we need
can't
to
tell
talk
you,
more.
you've almost got me in tears at
We're
the
gonna
idea
talk.
of being able to have a national audience. And then Doc, when she was on, before we went on the air, was talking about the links. So groups like that,
Yes. I know,
national
darn
groups,
it.
Jacksonville,
We had an assembly in Indianapolis like a few years ago. Probably like 5 years.
any of the sororities, any of the the Jack
Yes.
and Jill, and those all of those groups. If some national attention comes to our local chapters, we have very large chapters of
Yeah, the link has a great
national
big
sororities
chapter
and groups
there.
here.
Yeah, because we had an event there. All right, we got some work to do. We got some work to do.
Thank you so much for wanting to partner with us.
We'll
in
figure it
this.
out. We got a lot of work to do. All right, I'm gonna call you. At least you're gonna email me, right? And we're
I
gonna.
am, and I will give you the
Picture,
link
covered
to
all the covered
I will
all
give
the
you the link to the
comments.
website.
We had Janelle Maddox. I wish I'd known I could donate a piece of my tumor before my surgery. I know, girl, we all do, right? So we're gonna do some work. I'm gonna just put the website in my in the comments one more time. So it's Komen Tissue Bank, right?
.iu. So KOMEN tissue bank .iu.edu. And that should bring the website right up. And then you just look on the left-hand side and you can click around, you can read those publications. But one of those options on the left-hand side says donate, and one of them says volunteer, and you can really learn more there. And you can join the interested donor list and the interested volunteer list. And when we are anywhere near you, anytime we are in another city, we go into those lists and we email everybody within 100-mile radius of the city we're in.
The interest group, you said?
Yes, interested donor list. Oh my gosh, almost forgot that. Yes,
right.
That is the best thing anybody here can do. And tell all your friends to please.
Right, so that should be our social post.
Yes.
You gotta give me a post about that we can play.
Okay.
So they can find you. All right. Do you want to put your email out there? If not, people can always email me and I'll find you.
Absolutely. You ready?
1 second. I'm just putting mine. Everybody knows mine at FreakyTouchBBCA.org. Okay. All right. Kathy. What's yours?
KERIDLEY. KE Ridley.
Yeah.
KERIDLEY at iu.edu.
All right, girl. Expect to get some emails.
Perfect. I love it. Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh. Thank you.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Thank you.
I'll see you in September, maybe, if not before.
Oh yeah, we're gonna do something this summer. We're gonna figure this
At
out.
the next, maybe July or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah,
Okay.
you let me know your date, but we'll connect and see what's up with that, and we'll figure this out because
God bless.
you
Thank
know
you so much, Rick.
we're
You
about
are
advancing
so,
science,
keep on
advancing
doing what you do. You are just an amazing, amazing soul. And I'm so
crazy
happy that God
person.
put you on the earth.
It's my God job, and
Amen.
I wouldn't
I
know
know.
anything
I've heard
else.
you
And
speak.
we gotta do this research. We gotta fix the boobs.
Research is the key. It is the
It's
key.
the key. It's the key. And you know what? I feel like we're all in this work where everybody can go home every night and give themselves a hug and a pat on the back
Yeah.
and say, I
Yeah.
drove somebody to chemo, I did this stuff, but we have to advance the science.
We have to advance the science.
Thank you, thank you, thank you for
And
this
nobody
work.
can do it for us.
Nobody can. We got to do it. And that's what Black women do. So keep praying, keep doing the work.
Absolutely. Thank you so
Bless
much.
you, love. Bless you, love. Bless you, love. And
Thank you, dear.
and we'll do this again soon, okay? We'll
Okay.
talk more about it and we'll write an article about we're gonna publicize it. But all right, everybody. If Mo was here, she'd say, we hope this was reliable, relatable, and real. We thank Black Doctor for the platform. We thank all of our sponsors for helping us do this work, and we're very grateful. And we'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.
We're going to be talking about triple negative breast cancer day next week. So
Okay.
triple negative month. So thank you, my friend.
Absolutely.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.